Shout out to Wodamaya once again. Let's go ahead and find out how this man became a millionaire in Botswana before the age of 30.
Do you believe that a black man is capable of managing his own affairs?
I do, 100%. I also believe that we have a strong history of that, going back to the time of the Egyptians and other kingdoms that have occupied this great land of ours. So I happen to believe that we are very much capable and we've done great feats over the centuries. The only problem is that those things that we documented were somehow destroyed, and those things that we ought to have documented, at some point we failed to document and record our history. But the answer to your question is absolutely yes.
Trying to make sure the audio is good on your guys'
My
end.
full name is Mompuluki Leruma Mohobe. I like to think of myself as a visionary serial entrepreneur. I'm mostly involved in property development and property acquisition. I'm also a lawyer by training, but I'm also a speaker. I'm involved in podcasting as well.
Wow.
And running restaurants and a number of other businesses. As we say in the podcast, my objective is to enthuse, to energize, to inspire, and to empower others. So as long as I'm achieving that in one form or the other, making a difference in other people's lives, mentoring others, preaching to others, and then participating in joint efforts with others and making a difference in their lives, pushing people economically forward, getting things done. That's what inspires me.
I mean, anytime you see properties like that belongs to you, how does that make you feel?
Well, the sense of pride, sense of accomplishment, sense of fulfillment that you have worked and you actually see the direct benefits from your work. And the most importantly, you are now able to do.
What's up, Charles? Good afternoon to you, man. Thank you for stopping by, my friend. Hopefully your weekend is going pretty well.
Things that you love. Because it was only when I was 120% financially independent then I went to podcasting, I went into writing books, I went into speaking full time. All these things that I do now that I really love because of the financial independence that property gave to us.
Are you a millionaire?
Yes, I have assets.
When you ask somebody directly if they're a millionaire and they like, yes.
That exceed 1 million in value. That's what a millionaire means.
Are we getting close to $1 billion?
God willing, yes, we're getting close.
How close are we to $1 billion?
You know,
if you had a chance to change one thing in Africa, what will it be?
the mindset, the self-belief. I think slavery and colonialism has done a lot of damage. So it's taken much longer than anybody imagined to reverse the damage that has been done. And everything you can conceive, we can achieve, provided you are able to work on the biggest piece of real estate that you have. And the biggest piece of real estate that you have is the one between your ears. That means the mindset and your thinking.
That was bars, bro. 79 degrees. That is paradise, Charles. I'm jealous.
Mr. Mohobe,
Yes, sir.
how do you feel seeing your own plaza behind you?
I feel blessed, I feel fortunate, and I think, God's countenance is upon me. So I feel very good, but I also feel that there could be a lot greater things to emerge from here. I have huge plans to develop further buildings in other parts of the country and other parts of the city. So I feel very proud, and I thank the Almighty.
Even though I'm coming from Ghana, I am super proud of you, because what I read on the internet is that you're actually one of the first indigenous, person to actually build something like this in the CBD.
Wow.
Okay.
I mean, is it something that was a lie or it's right?
I think it's correct. You picked it up correctly. I do have a few indigenous businessmen who own other parts of the CBD, but the numbers are small. I'm one of those guys who say that, look, the next generation needs to be inspired. And for us to be able to inspire them, we need to achieve more. And this is just the beginning.
I love the fact that this is just the beginning and you became a millionaire at 30.
Yeah, it was in Pula terms, from what I recall, it was at age 29. In US dollar terms, it was 30. And the reason for that is that the difference between the Pula and the dollar wasn't as big as it is now. And it was easier to grow in dollar terms those years because I achieved that feat around 1993. But then,
Dude, can we give this guy a Dom DeMarco just based off him being homegrown in Botswana, being a millionaire at 29? And we haven't heard of, I have never heard of this guy before. And he's being highlighted on What Am I's channel. Otherwise, we would have never heard of this guy's existence and how he made his millions. Crazy.
then the currencies have seen widened. So, the US dollar has dropped the Pula.
Let's take it back to the genesis. How did it all start for you?
I would say that it started with the upbringing in the cattle post, where my parents believed that I should be exposed to the rural life and learn everything about the culture in terms of growing cattle, rearing cattle, learning how to even to whistle. Like, this is how you whistle when you're controlling cattle. You have to say, one, to stop the cattle. So I had to learn these basics and then learn all the Setswana idioms. And luckily I had very influential grandfather who was also a pastor of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, Pastor Philemon Kasa. So from there, when we now moved to the city with my mom, before my parents reconciled, in the early days, like I said, I was a bit of a, what is it called, a bastard. You know, they used to call us bastards in the old days, before it was amended to say, a child from a single parent home. I was lucky because my parents then reconciled when I was age 10, and from there we came to live in the city in a place called Bontleng. They call it Kasi, Bontleng. That's where I grew up, and that's how it evolved. In terms of the business side, obviously after I graduated with my law degree, I started practicing as a young lawyer. I worked for a law firm called Minchin and Kelly Botswana, which was the oldest law firm at the time.
Oh, wow. Okay. Lawyer, bro.
You started
I started
right after school?
After school, I started here originally.
Oh, okay.
Minchin and Kelly. I'll show you my office just now.
Were you renting?
No.
Before, were you renting when you came?
I came here as an employee.
Wow.
Yeah, the place was called Minchin and Kelly. It was a law firm. It was one of the nicest buildings. And I came and practiced as a young lawyer for 4 years. And then many, many years later, I bought the building. And after I worked for them for 4 years, I took a year in the middle of those 4 years to do a master's degree in the United States in the international trade and banking, or the law of international trade and banking.
International trade and banking.
Yes, that's
Right.
LLM, specialized in international trade and banking. Then when I came back, I did 1 year with Minchin and Kelly to finish it off the 4 years. 2 years, I was there, and then 1 year I was away, and then the final year I came back. But I had high aspirations, and I wanted to become a partner in that law firm. I was doing very well. I was even doing better than some of the partners in terms of income generation. And I thought I was on my way to becoming a partner until I received a letter from one of the senior partners telling me that you're not partnership material.
I wonder if he's partnership material now, because he is a multi-millionaire and he doesn't have to practice law anymore. That's crazy. And that should show you guys that when you get like rejected, at least in the job field, when you get rejected or you receive like news that you don't want to hear, that doesn't necessarily mean no. That just means not right now. And your opportunity is going to come in the future where you can either obtain that job or that role, or you're going to do something that's going to be greater than that job, role, or whatever offer that they gave you. So just keep working harder, man. When you get these rejections, don't take it and just take it personally. Just take that negative and try to turn it into a positive. Like work harder, go harder. Figure out what you could do better next time around, and you improve yourself in order to do better next time. And you may just end up working for yourself. You may end up getting a better job than that. Or you may be able to start your own law firm in his own situation. You know, maybe you may have an opportunity to do better. So don't take that and keep that internally as a negative. Just work on yourself, be better, and do better.
So when I came back, I then decided, I took 100 pula from my pocket. Actually, I signed a check for 100 pula to open the account. That 100 pula is what has now grown to the business entities that we have today.
I think we need to go much deeper into that. You took 100 pula to what?
To open an account?
To open a bank account?
Yes, we opened a bank account at Barclays in the African Mall. And that bank account then served as a place for the depository of cash as we did the work. So as and when, you see how lawyers work is that you put all your money in the trust account, and when you've earned that money through fees, through performance in court and so on and so forth, you transfer that part you've earned through raising a fee note. It goes from the trust account to the business account.
Wow.
So this is how the 100 pula then grew up. And then I got into a culture of saving. I think my mother had put it in my head here that a fool and his money are soon parted. And so I didn't want to be a fool.
Wait a minute. Let's take that back. Sheesh.
Money.
Hold on.
My mother had put it in my head here that.
Listen carefully, guys. Listen carefully to this quote right here. These are bars, and he's wearing a Rolls Royce pin on his lapel. This boy got money. This guy got money.
I got into a culture of saving. I think my mother had put it in my head here that a fool and his money are soon parted. And so I didn't want to be a fool. And I fantasized over the idea of having $1 million. And I said, is this doable? So I noticed that it's doable because I would have an average of 35,000 pula in cash as my commission. The system we had, me and my partner, is that once you meet the overheads in terms of meeting your targets, the excess that you have is yours to keep.
Wow.
So those 35,000 plus accumulated, and I was lucky to have them compound in an interest-bearing account that was bringing in 12.5%. I still remember it like it was yesterday. So those 35,000 over some time, 3, 4, 5 years, it exploded and reached to $1 million as I was depositing more.
Man's got money, bro.
Coming from a family that reared cattle, which means that your parents could not afford to take you to school. How were you able to go to school, study law, go to the US, and came back?
The thing about the Botswana government that is remarkable in the whole of the world is that education is compulsory and it's been free for a very long time. There was a time in the very early ages that my dad used to pay for school fees, but it was even then very heavily subsidized. From around the 80s, it was entirely free. So my parents didn't have to pay for school fees from secondary school right up to university.
Is it really true that education is free in this country?
Yeah.
Oh, I remember this part.
It's free from primary to almost tertiary.
Free? Until today, it's free education, yes. We don't pay education in Botswana up until university. Even if you go study overseas in the best courses, the government takes care of that.
So education still absorbs, if not the largest percentage of our, our national budget. If it's not number one, it's number two. So it's always been like that.
And guys, we actually reacted to that video together when bots like the video is up on my channel still. It says the title is Botswana like the perfect country, because of the single fact that they make college or they make school across the board free for their citizens, even if you go abroad. And I thought about this for a minute, and I thought that what if the U.S. implemented the same policy to make university free? Because our primary school is already public and free. But what if they made university free for every U.S. citizen? Would that motivate a lot more people to go to college and get a degree and go into like an industry that supports infrastructure in the U.S. and improve the U.S., or would it give us more lawyers, more doctors, more dentists, more pilots, like more of everything if we made university free? Because the biggest barrier of entry to university here in the USA is cost. If they eliminated that barrier to entry, they're going to have a lot more people enroll in college, get their degree, and be useful to society. This may be able to solve our problems here in the US because we have so many problems here that could be solved with education if we removed the biggest barrier to entry, which is the cost. And Botswana has done this. And look how prosperous they are.
In Botswana. So I call myself a diamond baby, in the sense that I'm a beneficiary of that. But I was able to go to school initially in Edinburgh, Scotland, which was part of my law degree, which was 5 years in total. But out of those 5 years, 2 years you had to spend in Edinburgh, Scotland, where it was freezing and cold. And after that, that's when I came back here. But 2 years into my work, I then decided to do a master's degree. That's when I applied to the Americans. There's an organization called AED. I'm trying to remember what it stands for. But that organization, it's part of the American outreach to developed nations. And I was able to get an AED scholarship to go and study at the American University in Washington. So that's how it evolved.
Living in America after 2 years, why did you come back?
No, I actually did my master's degree in 9 months.
In 9 months?
Pardon me. The reason I did it in 9 months because I wanted to come back.
Wow, that's
because
quick,
I had a life
guys. It's very fast.
To build here. You'll notice one thing about Botswana, at least the time when I was a student, is that they love their country.
Wow.
Whereas other nations will be, I had a Malawian friend who kept extending his courses and wanted to stay. And this was a 24-month master's program, but I decided to do it in 9 months.
Just to come back.
Just to come back. I also,
Bro, that's literally, he did it 2x faster or more. This guy is something special.
Naively thought I could work briefly in a law firm there. I got a posting at a law firm called, they call it internship or attachment. The law firm is called Pepper, Hamilton and Cheese. So I naively thought once I finished my master's, I could maybe spend 6 months there and then come back. But I found out that I hadn't read the fine print, which said once you've graduated, you go back. So it was a bittersweet moment that I couldn't spend 6 months with that law firm. But once I was here, I forgot about all that and I started working.
Shout out to the copyright music, dog.
This is where it's all begun.
This is where it all started in the year 1999. And that's when now I was getting out of partnership with my former partner Sohopolo and going on my own. And I built this place. It's actually 2 plots, and I extended the building that side. And it all started, we practiced law here from
Wow.
1999 until 2022.
Wow.
More than 2 decades. And this is where, when I used to have a little bit of excess cash, I put it into more property somewhere else. And I'll show you some of the sites, including the main property.
Oh man, this makes me feel so good, guys, because he's literally following the blueprint to be a millionaire. So the blueprint, if you guys didn't already know, if you're not an entrepreneur, you didn't grow up with money in your family, you don't have a rich uncle, you don't have rich parents. If you're starting from ground zero, from absolutely nothing, what you have to do to become a millionaire is super simple to follow, but you have to be extremely focused on the end goal and not succumb to any distractions. You first have to obviously get a job in anywhere that you can at the time if you're first starting out, and then you save and you live below your means and you invest the rest of your money after you pay your bills. And once you start building on that and your income starts to increase, you get promotions here and there, you get a better job somewhere else at a different company, you start to make more money, still keep your same lifestyle and still live way below your means and invest the difference of money, and you invest it into real estate, stocks, or what have you. And over a period of time, you're going to accumulate assets that are going to exceed $1 million. And that's it. A lot of people get caught up in vices that will suck you dry of all of the extra money that you have. And it makes the people that make these products that are your vices, it makes them rich instead of you. So if you can control yourself and be very focused on your final goal, you'll become a millionaire. That's it. Replay that, clip that, easy.
You saw, which is at the CBD.
So let's say that you made your money here.
That's where we made our money, literally. This is where it all happened.
Is this the first ever building that you began your practicing with?
Yes, the one that I owned was the first one, because before I moved here, I was renting in the town.
I think I want to see the one that you rented. I
Yeah.
mean, knowing that you had to rent a place.
Yeah.
I mean, you still started small by, owning this one. Then where we are right now.
Yeah.
That's quite impressive.
Thank you very much. I think it's God's grace, really. But as I said, this is where we started now, operating from our own building. And this is where, I think this was actually our second unit, because the first unit was the one where I lived. And the second unit is the one that I started practicing law from here in 1999. From then on, I was just building on that.
Let it build. Easy.
Being a successful lawyer, why would you switch from being a lawyer to real estate?
Okay, it was really more a case of diversifying. But if you read my book, you'll see the way I share the story is that initially I was getting a lot of nonsense from my landlady, who used to ask for rent at the wrong part of the month. And I felt like she was harassing me a lot. So I decided that enough of this. And then I started looking for a piece of land to buy.
Yeah.
And initially I bought a piece of land in a place called Calaview, still here in Gaborone, for 180,000. That was the initial start, but it wasn't like an intention to switch to real estate. Where I intended now to focus on real estate is when I had a problem with the Law Society, and they were threatening to take my practicing license.
Wow.
And I started thinking in terms of alternative method of living.
Can we just think about what he just said there? He got into real estate, right? He got into purchasing real estate. And if you guys do your research as well, you will look and see that the majority of the millionaires on earth have a real estate portfolio. So success leaves clues. Real estate is one of the key components of the majority of millionaires on the planet. And if you want to be the next millionaire, what do you think you have to do? You probably want to purchase some real estate. and this is why I stress, when you make more money, keep your lifestyle the exact same as it was when you were broke. Whether that it comes to like you can buy a new car, you want to buy a new car, and the car that you already have works perfectly fine. Delay that gratification. Use that extra money to go buy a property. Go buy a property and let that property pay for your new car, right? So if you buy a property, you buy an investment property, you rent it out. You let the people that rent your property not only pay for the mortgage for that property that you just purchased, but make sure it cash flows to a degree where you can actually get that new car and make the payment just with that income property. And you not only cash flow from that property that you've purchased, you also get to take advantage of the appreciation of that property over time. You not only get the appreciation, you get your mortgage paid off, and you get payments for your new car or whatever. You get the cash flow from that same property. This is how people get rich, and doing the exact opposite is living beyond your means. That's what keeps people broke, especially here in America.
So I ran this law firm for the longest time. And it was during the time that I was running this law firm that I experienced what I call a cataclysmic event, a life-threatening event where a group of my colleagues through the Law Society conspired, at least in my judgment, to try and get me off the role of practicing lawyers.
Oh, wow.
To the point where the case went as far as the Court of Appeal. And it was a very, very serious case and dragged on for 2 to 3 years. I get a little bit emotional when I think about it. And it was that life-threatening experience where I saw the serious risk of losing my profession that I then pivoted a little bit and focused on property.
I tried real estate and I fell in love with it.
Wow.
When I started real estate, it's around the same time, 98, 99, when Robert Kiyosaki released 2 of his books. One was called Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yo, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. This is a must read. If you guys want to ever at least have an idea or a mindset of being successful in the future financially, this is stepping stone number 1. Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Robert Kiyosaki is a billionaire at this point. And what he does is he uses OPM, other people's money, to purchase assets, and he cash flows those assets. And that's how he's become so wealthy. Easy. I think we got a chat from Charles. Hold on 1 second, Charles. I'm gonna put your chat on the screen. I did see it. So Charles says, be very disciplined and great money management skills, in my humble opinion. Yes. So discipline and delaying gratification, those are the keys to success. If you can be the expert in delaying gratification and have a lot of discipline with your finances, and you're a steward of your finances, you will become successful. You do have to invest, though. No one gets rich or wealthy from saving. No one gets rich or wealthy from saving. So you have to invest. You have to invest in real estate and stocks. Those are the two. Real estate is the big one. If you can buy your first real estate property, good. Do it, and you will reap the benefits as long as it cash flows.
But the one that impacted me a lot was called Cash Flow Quadrant. So after I read those books, and then in the circumstances of fighting over this dispute with the Law Society, I focused on real estate. Luckily, I won the case, but then the entrepreneurial bug had already bitten me, and then it just went to a stage where we started acquiring 1 property a year, and then we started 2 properties a year, then 3 properties a year. Then the numbers just went up. Within a decade, we went from about 3 properties to 3 tenants to 93 tenants.
92
As it stands right now, how many tenants do you have?
We have close to 400. I'll need to check the exact number. We have
Wow. Real estate can change your life. Real estate can change your life to a degree where it makes a lawyer quit. law and practice on, and focus on real estate. That's crazy.
Across the entire.
Wow.
When you were starting your journey, there's something that you mentioned. You said a letter was written to you, and somebody said to you, "You are not partnership material." I mean, a lot of people could have given up at that moment and say, "There's no need for me to have some sort of ambition to do this thing." Where do you think those words stemmed from, and how did they affect you, and how did you overcome them?
That's very good that you asked this question. The letter that I received was written by the senior partner at the law at the time. His name is Dave Williams. May the Lord rest his soul.
Dropping names, bro. This is what you do when you become successful. You drop names of the people that denied you in the past.
He's passed on.
Yeah.
And Dave was saying to me, "You seem to have created your own law firm within our own law firm.
Okay.
You seem to be doing well, but you seem to be not really part of the bigger picture." That's what he said in the letter.
Yeah.
So in that letter already, he's saying he's recognizing my income generating capacity, and he acknowledges that I'm meeting the targets and exceeding the targets that were set for me. But then he concludes, because I don't seem to mingle nicely with other guys, I'm not partnership material. Yes, for about 2 weeks, I was a bit depressed because I had in my mind a time frame where, within 5-6 years, I'm a partner in one of the most prestigious law firms in the country, mentioning Kelly Botswana. I mean, I'm talking about a law firm that is 120 years old now,
Wow.
plus minus. So when I received this letter, it took me a while to get over it. But when I reviewed it and I saw that in it, there's a recognition that I have capacity. And then when I started telling some of my clients, I've received such a letter, without exception, all of them, they say, "We'll support you. We'll go with you. Go open. We will come with you. We'll bring the files."
Wow.
And that's exactly what happened. So that gave me the confidence to recognize that if I open my own law firm, I'm likely to succeed.
W. Damn, that's so inspirational, man.
Estate means to you.
Real estate means property. It means there's a spiritual side to real estate that people don't know. So to me, it means the essence of your being, because it's a connection to the land, a connection to the soil. When somebody calls you the son of the soil and you own a piece of real estate, you can really see that you own a piece of Botswana, you own a piece of Africa. That's what real estate means to me. It's a bit emotional because it's a source of livelihood for me and my family, but it's also a source of meaning for me.
Wow, bro.
What kind of properties do you do?
We do different types of property. A property like this would be described as both retail and commercial, because the ground floor is occupied by 2 restaurants, one owned by Yoba, the other one owned by us, called The Pond. And then we are renting out the rest of the retail space to different tenants, including, dentists, including retail shops, clothing shops, including cell phone dealers and so on and so forth, like you saw downstairs. Then the rest of the building, including where we are now, it's commercial. We've got tenants, we met some of them who are doing different things. We have offices. We're close to over 50 tenants in this one place.
Wow.
This is a complex we own,
Wow.
and we have tenants in there. It's 3 stories here. So I think this is about 2 decades ago. That's why I wanted to show you. This is when we are still struggling.
You were struggling when you bought this, man.
Yes. This is when it was really hard.
You talk about struggle. What are some of your struggles?
The struggle was funding originally. I mean, I had to use SEDA, for instance. SEDA is the Citizen Entrepreneurship Development Agency, to fund this particular one, because those days it was hard to find the cash to buy. So this one now was helped by SEDA, and it was hard because you had to sacrifice financially. There were times when we had to put aside maybe 80% of everything that you make, put aside for a property purchase.
80%.
And then survive on the 20%. So it wasn't easy those days.
Man.
Do you believe in starting small as an entrepreneur?
I think it's absolutely essential. In fact, what I teach the young entrepreneurs now is that don't fund your first venture. Try and bootstrap your first venture so that you can test the market with minimum risk. It's always better to fund expansion or growth rather than fund when you are starting. You need to learn the ropes and understand the basics of finance before you entangle yourself in debt. That's what I believe.
Would you encourage more young people that are doing their own thing to take a risk? in order to go into that entrepreneurship journey?
I insist on it. I think that you need to do it. It's an imperative. They need to take a jump, even if they have a side hustle, even if they have a small enterprise, they need to devote their attention to that and grow it. Because that's what I did, and that's what I believe this modern economy in Africa, that's what it demands. That's what we have to do. I think some people over-glamorize entrepreneurship and forget the aspect of hard work.
Yes.
That entrepreneurship without commitment, total commitment, where you work hard and devote all your energies towards achieving your goals, is meaningless. So I just don't like the idea of entrepreneurship being over-glamorized by a lot of people. But otherwise, I think entrepreneurship is the answer for this time for Africa. People have to become financially independent, and to become truly financially independent, you have to become entrepreneurially minded in your mindset. You can be an entrepreneur working for someone else or an entrepreneur working for yourself, but you have to be entrepreneurially minded in your mindset.
Yes, I love that, because guys, you don't necessarily have to be an entrepreneur and be a business owner in order to become wealthy. You can still accomplish your financial goals and become wealthy working a 9-to-5. There's nothing wrong with working a 9-to-5, but you have to manage your finances in the correct manner. You have to use your active income to acquire assets. And once you have those assets, let those assets pay for everything. And then eventually you can let off the gas at your 9-to-5 and or quit. Once you make 2x or more from your assets, you can quit your 9-to-5 and live off your assets only and be financially free. That is the key. Managing your finances, it's super important.
This place is called the Khabani Junction Mall.
Why the name Khabani?
Khabani is the name of this location going this way.
Oh, okay.
And Junction because this is the main road from Jwane Nkanye into the city.
So you own the entire property?
We are fortunate enough to own the entire property. Along with that side, one of our companies owns those big trucks there. Okay. It's called Clean Cities and Towns. So our sanitation division, sanitation waste management is that side.
You also have a waste management?
Yes. Yeah.
That's nice.
That one is managed largely by my wife. And
okay.
Those are the trucks. I don't know whether time allows for us to. Yeah. But also this filling station as well.
You own the filling station?
Yes, we're fortunate enough to own the filling station.
Is it fortunate enough? Yes. What do you mean by fortunate enough?
No, I mean it's a blessing from above.
I know.
So when I first came here, it was just a piece of bush, and most people didn't think anybody would be interested in having a mall here when I first came to see this piece of land. But look at now, it's thriving.
So busy.
It's so busy. Choppies was telling me it's one of their most successful outlets, and there are anchor tenants here.
I feel like Mr. Mohobe is into everything real estate. I mean, you're also building an industrial park.
We're building an industrial park, which is here. You see, it's made out of 4 large warehouses, ideal for storage.
What?
Ideal for for large transport companies. Ideal for even just physical offices. So you'll see next time you come, you'll see written there Mohobe Industrial Park.
You've done it. And I think it's a testament to a young African that it's possible to make it in Africa.
Yeah.
If you have a message to that young African, what would that message be?
Well, I think everything is achievable. I decided while I was still a young man in my 20s to attain 1 million in US dollar terms and in Pula terms. Those days when I was starting up, the gap wasn't that big between the Pula and the US dollar. So I was able to achieve the 1 million in Pula, and then a year later the 1 million in US dollars before the age of 30.
Would you say you are a made in Africa product?
Yes, I think I'm an African born and bred. I'm a strong believer in that you can achieve any heights if you set your mind on it. I talk about and teach on the triangle of success. The triangle of success will be shaped like this. The lower part of the triangle of success is desire, which means if you have what Napoleon Hill calls white-hot desire, determination to succeed, you can have that as a foundation. That desire will help you clarify your goals, identify your objectives, and your dream. And then on this side of the triangle is what is called faith. Faith is a belief system That is, as it were, the software that you need to function. And if you're a person of faith, me, I'm a Hebrews 11 type of guy who believes very much that you can achieve anything you set your mind to. So you have your desire and you're activating your faith. It literally means you believe in God. It means you believe in your own abilities and you go for it. And the final side of that triangle of success is execution or action. So if you get this triangle of success and you nail it, there's nothing that can beat you. Because you will be able to mobilize all the resources, you activate all the contexts that you need to be able to get to your destination.
So everything that you've built was built in Botswana.
Indeed, I sometimes I'm a little embarrassed that I haven't diversified my political risk by getting out of Botswana. But yes, from the property side, all the units that we've developed in terms of warehouses, in terms of office complexes like this, in terms of also residential properties are in Botswana.
Dude!
Why is it that we don't have so many billionaires in Africa?
My bad. Let me go back.
Why is it that we don't have so many billionaires in Africa?
It's a combination of factors, mostly having to do with our mindset as entrepreneurs, but also the system is a little bit stacked against us. The system from the colonial, the post-colonial age is a little bit stacked against us. So we have to be 3 times as good and fight 5 times as hard. So as other people in other parts of the world. In addition to that, remember our currency is losing value continuously at a much higher rate, and we're mainly import-based economies. So I think that's part of it, but I think that is changing though.
Yeah.
I think that is changing because we are beginning to find a lot of people don't want it to be known that they are in that category. Yeah. A lot of people are hiding because of the way the society is structured and the mindset. People don't want it to be known that they've reached those. But I think there are people, even here in Botswana, who have long reached the billionaire status. But it's I'm telling you.
What is that one quote that keeps you moving?
The one quote that I just automatically rush to is never let perfection be the enemy of progress. What that means is that don't wait for all your ducks to be in a row before you start firing. When things are just about, just go. Because if you wait for perfection, you'll be stuck. You cannot wait for all the robots to turn green before you leave your house. So that is the argument.
Bro. So many gems. I may actually take time to rewatch that because he dropped so many gems during that video.